Hi guys.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us on our weekly Facebook Live Q&A. My name is Monica Sanchez. I'm a PA at Curology. Today we have Elizabeth Abbott. She's also a PA here. So we're going to go ahead and answer some of your questions. I'll go ahead and start. Larissa asks, my face turns red very quickly, sometimes for no apparent reason. What could I do? So no pictures or no other descriptions, but the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear redness is possibly rosacea.
Absolutely.
So rosacea is caused by dilated blood vessels in the face, usually in the center of the face. That's where it's most common. More common in fair-skinned individuals, people with blue eyes or of Celtic heritage. But rosacea can be aggravated by hot showers, hot beverages, spicy foods, and alcohol. So if you think that it might be some type of rosacea, I would recommend you avoiding these things for a couple weeks and seeing if things get better. Yeah. Also keeping like a diary when you notice the redness so that you can kind of track it and see what's going on.
Yeah.
That would be helpful. Obviously, if you already have redness, we want to avoid added redness. So being really diligent with your SPF every day is a must. Okay, so yeah, you don't want the redness to get any worse. So I would say SPF daily.
And my first question is from Angela Collins. Angela says, I'm 29 years old. I've been fighting with a terrible case of acne, my chin and line and cheeks mostly. I've tried every over-the-counter cream, wipe, and wash that I can find. I have also tried clindamycin and benzoyl peroxide prescription creams from my doctor. Nothing works, and I think I'm allergic to the benzoyl peroxide anyways, which unfortunately can be common. What else can I use, and is there anything natural that might be helpful also? Thank you. So first of all, Angela, thank you for your question. It sounds to me like you may be dealing with what we call hormonal acne. The reason why I say that is because of where you're telling me your acne is located. So think of this as like a U shape on the face where a male may grow facial hair. Okay, so I'm not saying there's something wrong with the hormones. This is actually an over-exaggerated response of the sebaceous glands or the oil glands in response to your androgens, or which are male-like hormones that every woman has. Some women will have this over-exaggerated response and some will not. So the first way that we treat hormonal acne is something you already mentioned. This is with topical over-the-counter medications or prescription medications like those found in your Curology medication. Another way, though, that we can treat hormonal acne is through oral prescription medications. The most common and is going to be hormonal contraceptives, such as birth control or birth controls. There are many different types of birth control. Pills do tend to be best. These tend to be better than things like the patch, the NuvaRing, the implants, or the Implanon. The IUDs. I'm not going to go into all the different types of birth control because there are a lot of different hormones in birth controls, but you can go to Curology.com/birth control where you'll find a video and a very easy to understand graph that talks about the different types of hormones in birth control and the expected effect that they will have on your skin. Another type of prescription medication that you may or may not have heard of is called spironolactone. Now remember, I said this was due to androgens in the blood. So spironolactone is actually an anti-androgen, and a lot of women will find an improvement in their hormonal acne as well as decreased oil production with spironolactone. Now, if you're not wanting a prescription medication, you want to take a more natural route, you may try some spearmint tea. That's another thing that we commonly recommend here at Curology.
It's delicious. Okay, sorry about that. Second question, we have Angelica Mendoza asking, what is the best moisturizer with SPF to use for your face? So again, Angelica did not specify her skin type. So I'm gonna kind of give you an overview of a couple of the SPFs that we really like here, and then what skin type would be best for that. So when we're talking about dry skin or normal combination skin, I really like the Neutrogena Healthy Defense Daily Moisturizer with SPF 50. I've talked about this before. This is what I use, works really well under makeup. It does have a shine to it because it is moisturizing, so if you really want to keep that matte look, or if you have oily skin, a good option is the Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Dry Touch. and that has an SPF of 85. So oily skin, usually, like my husband really likes this SPF because he tends to be oilier, so this will leave a nice matte finish. I do not have the other two that I want to recommend, but if you're into any Asian beauty skincare, one that's really popular is the Biore UV Aqua Rich Watery Sunscreen Essence. So it looks like this, and it's really light. It has a gel type consistency. So really good, again, for normal to oily skin types because it dries really matte. And then another one for dry skin, also higher end if you're looking into that, is Ulta MD UV Clear Broad Spectrum 46. They have a regular and a tinted. So that looks like this. I hope you guys can see it. But that's really good for dry skin, especially with the weather changing, not so much here in San Diego, but everywhere else where fall's kicking in and winter's kicking in. That'd be a good option to try.
Exactly. I agree. And then I have one more question. It comes from Sophia, and Sophia asks, what causes blackheads and how to treat and prevent blackheads? So first of all, I want to start out by saying a blackhead is an open comedone. What do I mean by that? Well, a comedone is essentially a blocked pore, and there are two types of comedones. There's open comedones, also known as blackheads, and closed comedones, also known as whiteheads. What happens is when the comedone is open, the material inside of the blocked pore becomes oxidized and turns black, which is why we call this a blackhead. The best way to treat and prevent blackheads is through tretinoin. Tretinoin actually increases the cell turnover, and by doing that, it's going to treat and unblock the pore, but it also normalizes the life cycle of the cell, and in doing that, it prevents blackheads as well. If a prescription medication like tretinoin is not available to you, a great over-the-counter option would be an over-the-counter exfoliant such as salicylic acid, a BHA, and you can commonly find this in mini acne washes or spot treatments.
That's good. Do we have any live questions, Alyssa?
We don't.
We don't. Okay, guys, so keep sending us your questions. We have through all social media, right? Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you want.
Follow us on Snapchat.
Yeah, follow us on Snapchat. We finally have a Snapchat. Or just send questions that you have to our support team. They're awesome. So that we can continue to answer questions that you guys have. But I think we're all done this week, so we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.